Hey everybody, on today's episode, we're going to be bringing you some tools and techniques to bring a little discipline into your daily activities, whether they be sales activities or sales management activities. We get to choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Straight from Miami, this is It Shouldn't Happen to Us. After 30 plus years of selling and training sales teams, we still screw it up sometimes, and this is where we tell you all about it, because it shouldn't happen to us.
So good afternoon, Sophia.
Good afternoon, Carlos. What kind of day are you having?
I'm having a fabulously productive day, which was absolutely needed because my energy levels had been, hadn't been applying myself. I don't know if it was because we were at conference last week and then the calendar had got confusing for me, and I wasn't doing what I should do. And I was feeling it. I was feeling it in my pipeline. I was feeling it in my energy levels. I just wasn't doing what I should do. Do you ever have times like that? Do you ever have times when you're just not doing what you should do?
Well, yeah, and it always happens when my calendar is like slammed, and I look at I know it's going to be one of those weeks when on Sunday night, as I'm glancing at my calendar, all I can think of is what can I take off?
There's a fantastic, well, let's take an aside because there is a fantastic learning there, right? Which is for us guys in sales. So for you guys, for the audience, you book a meeting, great prospect, you have a great intro call, whatever. You get a referral, you get an inbound, you think this is going to be a nice deal. This is going to be a good process to run. And if you're anything like me, you book a meeting, you get commitment for the meeting, and we think, wow, this is as important for the prospect as it is for me. And the reality is, they're going to look at their calendar on a Sunday, just like Sophia just said. Everybody in the world looks at their calendar either on a Sunday or every morning. I do both. I look at it on a Sunday and I think, oh my God, what can I take out? Or I look at it in the morning and think, I just can't. I mean, it's just like it's killing me. What can I take out? And you know what a prospect takes out. Because it ain't as important to them as it is for you yet. You've not had a chance to inspire that kind of engagement yet. They're going to take you out. You're going to get taken out unless you pre-disaster it. Tell me how you pre-disaster it. Post-sell it for me, Soph. So I'm prospect, you're salesperson, and I'll say, let's talk on Tuesday. Tuesday, 2:00. What are you going to say?
Okay, Carlos, Tuesday, 2:00. I'll shoot you an invite with a nice agenda so you know exactly what we're going to cover on Tuesday at 2:00. But let me ask you, am I putting this in our calendars in pencil or in pen? You're a busy guy. I'm a busy person too. Is there any reason you wouldn't be able to make that meeting?
No, we should
Tuesday,
do it.
2 p.m. That time ever get fuzzy for you?
Here's something I always do as well. I'll say, you know what, Sophia? I'm going to bet you dollars to donuts. Tuesday morning, you look at your calendar and say to yourself, hey, what can I take out of this day? Don't you look at your calendar from time to time and think, wow, I can't do this today. Too much in there. I've overcommitted. If you're anything like me or any of the other guys I speak to, you're going to overcommit. Am I going to be the thing you take out on Tuesday? Am I going to be the sacrificial lamb?
Oof.
Slaughtered on the altar of overcommitment. Slaughtered on the lamb slaughtered on the altar of overcommitment.
That needs to be the name of this episode.
I'm slaughtered on the altar of overcommitment. That's a great. That to be the title of this episode.
That is heavy metal.
That's punk rock.
I feel pain. Yeah. I see the visuals.
Is that what's going to happen, Sophia? Am I going to be slaughtered on the altar of overcommitment on Tuesday morning? Now, here's the magic, though. When they say no, of course not, Carlos. Because today, it seems like a good idea, right? Talk on Tuesday. Carlos is a cool guy. Sophia's cool. Talk on Tuesday feels like a great idea today. It always feels like a great idea for me to start my diet tomorrow. It's a great idea to start my diet. Tomorrow's the best day. It's like Annie. Tomorrow never comes, right?
It always sounds like a good idea to sign up for an aerial yoga class with my little sister. Saturday morning.
Carolina, Luna, Bella, they go now. They're doing hot yoga you ever heard of this hot yoga? It sounds brutal. Like they were vomiting. Who knew yoga could get like that?
It's right. It's some. I mean, I go take my boxing classes, which are challenging for sure. But I've got friends that do the hot yoga. I've got friends that do the marathon running. A friend of mine that does the marathon, she's like, yeah, my toenails fall off. I'm like, that sounds terrible. And you're trying to get me. You're trying to get me to do it with you. You're like, yeah,
but I like my toenails.
But I'm like, all right,
I like my toenails. I've got nice toenails. Okay. They've not done anything to me. Why would you ever run so far that your toenails fall off? It just sounds like a bad plan, right?
It's going to be I forgot who it was from American Idol, which judge it was, but he'd say it's going to be a dog.
No, that's that country singer. It must be the country singer. But
yeah. So what was different
today? I just got shit done, and it's shit that's needed for a while. And you know what? I'd love to sit and tell you that I've been too busy. But have I been too busy? I've not been too busy. I've been too distracted. And it's built up. It's it's that I am I don't know, I don't know as I get older if I get distracted easier. I don't know if there's something in the water or something. Everyone seems to have ADHD these days. I am so easily distracted, and my energy level crashes when I get distracted. So that can't be ADHD, right? Because your energy level's supposed to go up. But my energy levels crash. I get distracted. I've got no focus, and I just become very undisciplined. Just my discipline.
What takes you off your focus? Because I know I've read that it takes 25 minutes to to get back to a task when you're interrupted. What tends to distract you the most? For me, I'll tell you, it's notifications. Like my phone has notifications for every app has notification. I didn't order Instacart.
Yeah.
Instacart's sending me notifications. And I look at it because my phone buzzes and I'm like, right. And it knocks me out of that flow.
Here's the challenge I have. And I do get that as well. Of course, I get Uber Eats. I haven't ordered Uber Eats and it flashes at me and I think, oh, I wonder if somebody's ordered Uber Eats. Well, actually, what I do think is, hooray, somebody's ordered Uber Eats. That's what I actually think. Hooray! And then I look and it's like it's an ad. It's a coupon. It's something. And how good a job do they do at catching your attention, right? I mean, magicians, these guys.
They sure do.
So because they catch your attention, and that I don't, but somebody gets that coupon and thinks, you know what, Uber Eats, let's do it. Click. That isn't what floors me. What floors me is when I know I've got 5 things to do and I'm just unstructured with those 5 things. If I could just allocate the right time and think, okay, so what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of that one. And it's like, what does Jim Rohn always say? When you're at the office, don't take the beach to the office and don't take the office to the beach, right? I'm like taking a little bit of prospecting, but really thinking about my pipeline. Then I'm doing a little bit of pipeline, really thinking about my prospecting, thinking about I've got to call you, thinking about I've got to speak to Joan. There's a client blowing my phone up. Unstructured. How much better is it to be disciplined and say, you know what, this hour's all is all for Cookbook. Well, that's what I did today. The 2 big ones that have got out of hand for me recently is I've been off my game on prospect outbound, and I've been off my game because I've been busy with clients, and we're very fortunate. We've got an abundance of riches in our client base and in our pipeline, and so I haven't really. Actually, I'll tell you how the dominoes fell. I haven't been prospecting as much as I should do, and I haven't been doing my Where Are They Now, and I've not been doing my outreach on LinkedIn, and there's been stuff I haven't been doing because I've been telling myself, hey, I can't even, my pipeline's not even well managed at the moment. So the first thing I did was today, because I had some white space in my calendar, which is a big mistake, that should have said pipeline. That time block should have been in, but I got lucky. I went to my pipeline, tidied it up, thought I've got to move a few things along. I've got to kill a few things out. But once I tidied my pipeline, I looked at it and thought, Oh, shit, not as good as I thought it was. Okay, I've got another hour now. Outreach. And I just turned on the afterburners. Boom, boom, boom. Now, what it should have said, we know how what this is supposed to look like. Every day, a little bit of prospecting, right? How much do you think is the right?
We know it. A little bit all the time. We know.
You can't brush your teeth 14 times on a Sunday, right? And be good for the week. You got to do a little bit every day. And I know it, and you know it. And just like all our listeners know it, we don't have to tell them it. They know. We know what we're supposed to do.
You guys
I need to put it back in my calendar. I need to have every day a little bit of outreach. I need to have every day the hour that I put aside for a sales call. Because if I don't put that hour aside, somebody says to me, hey, let's talk on Thursday, and I've got no time on Thursday. You look at my calendar, and it's 15, you got to go 15 days to find some white space. So I need to put that sales call. I need to put that 90 minutes in, like 3 or 4 times a week. Ready. The bird cage, ready to take the bird. The cage ready to take the bird.
Well, and then when Outlook, prospecting, pipeline time, it's pain of discipline or pain of regret. It's very naughty for when that notification to come up
Snooze.
To say, you know what, I need
Snooze
a snack.
that.
I need a little snack, a little, snooze. And that, I find that habit is a tough one to break. So if for those of you listening, if you've gotten to that habit, get out rápido, fast, because you got to respect it like it's an appointment with yourself, respect it like it's an appointment with a client. And if you have to move it, you got to scoot it up, down,
but you don't just kill it.
Whatever, fine.
Don't
but if
kill
you just you don't kill it.
Do you know, I remember
temptation.
Last summer, I was in Colombia with the fam. It was a shit vacation anyway. It was, and I like vacations, but, Carolina had me up and down mountains in coffee farms, and I don't know. It wasn't lying on my ass in the beach, but it definitely wasn't that. So, and I tried to disconnect, and I went away on vacation with a client base that if it fell on you, it'd kill you. And so my pipeline was absolutely empty. And I didn't even think about the fact that my pipeline was empty because I had more clients than I knew what to do with. I couldn't get to them all anyway. I'd killed myself with private work and having all these consulting clients, and this was all work that had built up over COVID. So there were clients that we picked up over COVID, like a huge number of clients we picked up over COVID. Well, those clients were coming to like 3-year anniversary, 2-year anniversaries, and they were looking to turn it down. They were looking to try some new things. They were looking for something a little new. And there were 3 or 4 clients that said, hey, listen, love you lots, Carlos, love you lots like jelly tots, but we're going to be, we've had some changes to the team, and the story, how it goes. So I was already having a shit vacation, but then 3 or 4 of those clients give that, and I'm like, and I've got nothing in my pipeline. Well, let me tell you, pain of discipline or pain of regret? Pain of regret. I shit my pants. And I had to get back, and I needed to build a pipeline. And I figured out it takes 8 to 12 weeks. In our world, it takes 8 to 12 weeks from turning it on, from turning the afterburners on, to clients starting to fall out of the other end of that pipeline. And that's working it like you need it, because we should be the example that's held up in front of all our clients. I've got absolutely no right walking around with an empty pipeline. That's a travesty. And or with a weaker dishwater pipeline. I've got no right to do that. That's a failing of a responsibility on my part. And it took about 3, and it was incredible. And then when I wrote my first engagement letter, 8 weeks after I got back from Colombia, I wrote my first engagement letter, and I looked and I put it in my engagement letter file, and I realized it was like 6 months between that engagement letter and the previous engagement letter I'd written, that's a disaster. 6 months without closing a deal, like a novice, like an idiot. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret, what is it? It must have happened to you. It's happened to everybody. It must have happened to you.
It's happened to everybody, and it's so funny that you mentioned that about the engagement letter, because that's happened to me before, where I'm like, I need to draft up an engagement letter, and I open up.
Well, that's why, and it was written on the tablet of stone
like,
with a chisel. It was like written in Cyrillic.
Yeah, yeah,
written in.
Like, oh, damn,
yeah,
it's been a
dust the cobwebs off it.
It's been. Excuse me, it's been a lot. It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, for me, for sure. Story that comes to mind was and what we do. And we're coaches, we're trainers. We have trainers and coaches too. For every time we've got to give a swift, loving kick in the behind to one of our clients, we're getting our butts kicked too. And I had a coach one time ask me, how's it going? And I told him, well, my pipeline is really tragic right now, and I just can't figure out why. And he's like, well, think about it. What do you think? It's like, you really know why. And I was like, well, I don't know. I've had a rough couple of months, at home, my family, my mom's had surgery, and I've been taking care of her. And he's like, all right, so it sounds to me like 6 weeks ago you chose not to prospect.
Ooh, that's harsh.
And I said, well, no, I mean, I didn't. And I was like, well, I mean, I didn't choose not to prospect. I was just kind of going through a rough time. He's like, oh, no, you chose not to prospect 6 weeks ago, and that's why your pipeline is tragic right now. And I'm like, all right, you're right. Okay. Yeah. He's right. I mean, I chose
and it seemed like a good idea back then, or it seemed excusable back then. There was a great story you told yourself.
Yeah, we all have bad weeks. Bad week.
Problems with whatever,
Bad month, bad week.
We tell ourselves these stories. It's a great technique to pre-disaster. Right? Like, the Andy McCready. What do you do to pre-disaster your day? When you're going to tell yourself a story, what do you do?
Well, you got to have a Post-it note on your desk of all the excuses. Make a bullet point list of all the excuses you're going to have. I had an accountability group one time too, when I had a wimpy pipeline, or I didn't prospect so much that week. They said, all right, so what's going to happen? So next week, my buddy Aaron Solari, actually, he's like, what's going to happen? So next week, when those demons are whispering to you, excuses like later, I'll do it later. Monday's not a great time to prospect. The morning's not too early, too late. So why don't you write down all those excuses and make a plan for what are you going to do, and verbally tell the group now, what are you going to do
when the excuse happens?
When those
What did Andy McCready used to talk to us about when he was training to be a triathlete? It was his first triathlon. I'll tell the story. So he says he lived in London at the time, and November in London, and he's training for a triathlon, and he's got to get up and out of bed at like 5 a.m, 4 a.m, in a rainy, foggy, cold November morning in London. And like he's going to get up and he's going to run, and like what's the easy move? The easy move is what does everyone tell you to do? Put the like Dre Baldwin said, put the sneakers next to your bed. Put the running shoes next to your bed. So when you wake up, you've got no excuses. Like, can't get to the running shoes is the only excuse, right? No, that's like the easy bit.
Right.
So what Andy used to do is he used to write himself on a little like a little one of these little like 4x in little index cards.
Index card.
He would write all the things his brain was going to tell him the next morning. So, and he would write, it is not too cold. You are not too tired. You have had enough sleep. This is the number one priority for today. Because the brain's going to go, too cold. Number two, didn't have enough sleep. It's going to say, do you know, you've got a busy day, you've got this to do, that to do. Is this really the right use of time? Your brain will play tricks on you, right?
Hey, do it after work. You can do it later. Do it after work. Why not?
Yeah,
You'll
just
still
do it
get
later. Put
later.
it back. You're still going to do it, but of course, after work, that never happens, right? So, that would be a good one. I am not going to prioritize this after work. I'm going to prioritize it in the morning. So he wrote those kind of I am statements. He pre-disastered his morning. It's like that. Have you ever seen the film? The World According to Garp? Have you ever seen that film? Robin Williams. It's brilliant. I've read the book. Irvin. I can't remember the guy's name. John Irvin. He wrote some fabulous books. Cider House Rules, World According to Garp, Prayer for Owen Meany. But they made his most famous was The World According to Garp, and Robin Williams was in it. And they're looking at this house. They're going to buy this house. They're walking around this house. And then a light aircraft crashes into the roof of the house. And the realtor looks at this, they're stood outside the house, and there's an airplane sticking out the roof of the house. And the realtor turns to Robin Williams and says, I'm guessing you don't want it anymore. And Robin Williams says, are you kidding? It's been pre-disastered. He says, it's brilliant. It's been what are the chances of that happening again? But no, you got a pre-disaster in the morning. Is it called it's called an Oedipus trap or a Perseus trap, or I forget whoever the sailor was in the Iliad. But when he was gonna sail past the island of the Sirens, he filled his ears with wax, and he filled all the sailors' ears with wax because he knew the Sirens were gonna call, and the Sirens were gonna call the ship, and the ship will be dashed on the rocks, and so he knew that was going to happen. So he managed it before it was a problem. Put the wax in the ears. Andy McCready managed it the night before it was a problem. Yes, you have got time. Yes, you've had enough sleep. This is the priority today. And you wait, and he said he got into a habit of waking up in the morning, just looking at the card, and then that was his habit. And then it was okay, yeah, I've got to do that. It's a great technique. It's a fabulous technique to pre-disaster, though, when you know you're going to need discipline, and you know that you're not going to suffer the pain of regret. Warren Buffett says it. You've got a choice: pain of discipline or pain of regret. You choose. This life's full of pain. You choose it.
Later becomes never. Later becomes never.
Yeah.
Procrastination. Later becomes never, and I love the you decide one day.
Day lovely. I tell you what I've been using as well. I was reminded today, so I went, and I've been doing this a little bit more recently. Is recommitting to time blocking, putting something I need to do in my calendar and making it sacrosanct. And what do we always say? Look, Microsoft is running your life one way or the other. It's up to you. You either let your calendar run your life, which means you're in control, or you let your inbox run your life. One of those two tools is going to be telling you what you're thinking about. What you're thinking about and what you're doing. It's either your inbox, which means that you're helping everybody else hit their goals. That everybody else is running is choosing what you're working on. Or it's your calendar, and I've started to. There's a cool technique where if you've got an email and you look at it and you think, oh wow, that needs work, but you know what, I'm busy with something else right now. You can you just hit the button and it puts the email into your calendar in an hour slot, which means you can, and it'll find an hour for you when you've got some free time, and it'll put it in there so that you can take it out of your head. It doesn't consume your bandwidth. These are the things you got to do. You got to, the techniques are time blocking. The techniques are writing down, pre-disastering.
Cookbook.
Oh, Cookbook's a tool. Tell them about Cookbook. So now this is very specifically for prospecting, but it's more than prospecting. So it's wherever you need to add discipline. So go on, tell the guys about Cookbook.
Well, it's a cookbook can be, think about making a recipe. So a recipe gives you the techniques and the ingredients to make that dish or that, baked good or whatever it might be. The cookbook is, when I think about a cookbook, I think about something that's going to make it easier for me to crack the day wide open. I think of Martin Luther King. Don't focus on the whole staircase ahead. Just focus on the step in front of you, right? Just focus on that step in front of you. The cookbook, we've got big year-long goal. We've got a quarterly goal. We've got a monthly goal. What is the daily goal? What do you need to do? What do you need to bang out today? Is it follow-up emails? Is it prospecting calls? Is it journaling? Is it working out? And it could be personal items and prospecting activities. Is it, do I need to put, do I need to clean up my pipeline today? Do I need to push this, push one person to a no today? So it's I like to think of it as just a nice, clear list of activities that need to get done before you shut down the computer, so that you can go to bed and know that I did everything I needed to do today to grow this business, grow my
team. And it could be some prospecting. It could be some pipeline activity. Do you know, there's a way of attacking your pipeline like you're actually intending to move something in it, not just hygiene, but actually, you can either ignore your pipeline or you can do hygiene, just keep it clean, like as if the police are going to get an audit. There's going to be some compliance review of your pipeline, of your CRM. Or you can do like, I'm really going to move something here. Pat Heydrich always used to say this to me. What are you going to move today? What deal are you going to move today? Let's move something in the pipeline today. Let's move something today. Let's move something 5 yards down the pitch today. And so that's now in my cookbook. One deal gets moved 5 yards, whether that's a phone call, whether that's a touch, whether it's a follow-up. But I mean, like, move it like you mean to, like you mean it, like this is a deal you take into the end zone. There are plenty of tools we can use. We can use a cookbook where we've got those key disciplines, the prospecting, the pipeline, the health disciplines that we want, the balance disciplines that we want. Oh my God.
Management.
Yeah.
Management. Do you do, how many one-to-ones do you want to have this week? How many pre-call planning sessions do you want to have with your people this week? How many call debriefs do you want to have? How many ride-alongs do you want to have? How many interviews are you going to do this month? How are you going to land those interviews?
Yeah.
That can all be in a cookbook. Because if not, it's like, this avalanche of all this stuff we need to do. Well, if we can chunk it, that's old human psychology stuff, right? Chunking makes it easier
and those
to
templates
break
that we've
down.
got, those templates, those cookbook templates, so you can stand back at the end of a day and say, okay, where was I short? No judgment. Like, let's not kill ourselves. Where was I short? Where do I need to improve? Where do I need to catch up tomorrow? I used to have a boss that said a plan gets a year old one day at a time. And, very quickly you can get 6 months behind one day at a time. But if you know what you were short, if you know you were 3 dials light, if you know that you were, two networking events this month light, you can catch them up next month. And then it doesn't get a year old. It's a fabulous discipline tool. Pain of discipline or pain of regret. Hey guys, if you get value out of Sophia and Carlos and the vulnerability that we bring and the tools and the techniques and the traps that we bring you, hey, nothing's for free in this world, right? Nothing's for free, but we're charged. And I wouldn't want it to be for free because people don't value what's for free. There's a price to be in our audience, guys, and the price is to click that subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel, click a thumbs up, tell the algorithm you love us. Hey guys, listen, for this week, Sophia and I wish you good selling. It's goodbye from Sophia.
And
take care, folks.
Goodbye from Carlos.